Okay, I think that we are live right now. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Good morning, everybody. This is going to be the Ask Me Anything for Thursday, January 9th, 2025. I almost said 2024, but here we go. Kenji, what's up? See you in the comments. Hope you're doing well. All right, we got some good stuff going on, of course. Got the questions called up. Good stuff as usual from the Linchpin community. And I got a few shout outs before we kick it off. So, for the shout outs, let's see. First shout out. This is from Scott P. And this was posted within the last couple of weeks, whenever it was that we did DT. And so he says he did DT today. And his version of how he does this workout is with 95 pounds. Last time he did it with that weight as well. So he had an apples to apples comparison. And the last time he did it was August 2023, and it took him 11 minutes and 4 seconds. Now he did it in 8 minutes and 27 seconds at the same loading. So, in, I don't know, what's that, about a year and a half ish, a little less than a year and a half, year and 4 months, he took 2.5 minutes off of his time. Congratulations. That's awesome. He also says, anyone who wonders about Linchpin's not for time days or kind of for time approach should just try it. I only go full throttle maybe twice a week, and this has created more physical and mental capacity than I have ever experienced. That's very cool. So, congratulations, Scott. Shauna, Melanie, Sebastian, see you all. Hello. Now, next shout out, Ethan. Hello as well. This is from Rod Coachman. Rod's been around a long time. Him and his wife, solid people. They run an affiliate out in Georgia. Interviewed them a while ago. But he went ahead and did DT as well. Did it as prescribed with 155 pounds in the bar. And he went ahead and knocked that out in 9 minutes and 55 seconds, which gave him a level 88 on BTWB. So that is moving with that barbell. Congratulations, Rod. Two more. This is a post from Alexandra S. Just a very nice comment. She says, thanks for creating our home at Linchpin. No glitz, no glamour, just a bunch of like-minded individuals dedicated to health and wellness who want to live the best life possible. Fantastic programming, getting us to lift heavy, run fast, and not be too wrecked so we can live our lives the way that we need to. Happy New Year. That's very cool. That's the whole goal right there. And final shout out. This is just the hero of the day award, if you will. This was posted in the Linchpin private Facebook group, and this was from Justin D. Picture of him with his kids out playing in the snow, and he says, this is with regards to the other day when we had a 10K row. You want to talk about that we truly do not care what people like to do. We program what works. We focus on what's effective, not what's popular. 10K row kind of falls into that category. And Justin says, grit is the only reason I got this done today. The last 36 hours have felt like a fever dream. Started with a snowstorm during regular work hours, got home, packed everyone up to hit our favorite sledding hill with friends, returned home and got called into work to replace 2 telephone poles that a plow truck had hit. That took almost 12 hours working in temperatures that were in the teens. Hopped on the rower with zero expectations other than to finish and do whatever I had to do. Had the excuses not to get it done, but that wasn't an option. Got it done. So let's go ahead and think about that for a second. I mean, talk about, I don't know where to start with that. So Justin obviously works outdoors in an extraordinarily physically demanding job. When I see those individuals that, there's a power problem, they got the trucks out, they're up fixing the electricity poles, the telephone poles, or one that knocked down, that's just like back-breaking outdoors manual labor. And he's doing that for 12 hours out in temperatures that are in the teens, freezing cold. And then after 12 hours of freezing cold, shivering manual labor, gets back home and has the mental fortitude to do a 10K row? Are you kidding me? Like, I don't care what your time was on the rower. It's literally irrelevant. The fact that you are the sort of human being that has that grit and determination to just accomplish the mission, even though you were probably cold and tired, you didn't care, you just did it. That's pretty awesome. Superhero status as far as I'm concerned. So, anyway, that's that. Okay, let's dive into some questions here. Let me see. Let me get this called up. Got a couple screens going. All right. So, first question from Sebastian F. Hey, Pat, overhead squats were programmed this week, and due to ceiling height, anything overhead can be a problem. You've got a low ceiling. And, a lot of people are there as well. This got me thinking about the overhead squat. A heavy 1 rep max overhead squat is very far away from a heavy back squat. Most of the time, overhead squat taxes my midline the most, but I would not think of substituting the overhead squat for some quote unquote core blaster. What stimulus should I be thinking about when substituting the overhead squat? First of all, Sebastian, fantastic. I mean, I love, again, the fitness IQ, the strength and conditioning IQ of the Linchpin community makes me proud. So you're right. Let's say that you have a low ceiling height and you can't do an overhead squat, but that's the workout of the day, which we had the other day, EMOM style with some GHD sit-ups, which, by the way, I'm just now finally getting recovered from. You're right. The load on the bar that you're going to do for a bunch of singles on an overhead squat for most people is going to be a much lighter load than what you would have on the bar for singles for a front squat or back squat. You're spot on. Makes me happy that you piece that together. So now you're looking to replicate that stimulus, but you've got low ceiling height. Well, let's break down the overhead squat. Key elements of it. We've got overhead stability. We've got a big demand in the midline. You're correct. And it's a below parallel movement. So if we can replicate those general factors to the best of our ability, even if it's not the overhead squat, we'll get as close as we can. It's probably mission accomplished. So for the below parallel strength, you got a lot of options. You could front squat or back squat. That'd be a great thing to do. Between those two, if you could do both, I'd rather have you do front squat, probably demand more of an upright torso. It's a bit more demanding on the midline, so that's good in comparison to the overhead squat. But when you're front squatting or back squatting for singles, I would just make them, heavy singles. Let's say it's 70%, but it's for a single. I mean, most people can do 70% for multiple reps, like a 5 or something like that. So if you're doing 70% for a single, you're getting that good below parallel strength and whatnot, but you're not like just blowing up your below parallel strength, because that's not really what an overhead squat would do, but you're still taxing your body below parallel. So I'd get that below parallel piece in. Now for the overhead piece, you can do that in several ways. While the overhead squat is more of a, isometric hold stabilization, if you will, you could do that. You've got the low ceiling height, so you could potentially do something with like a box, or get your feet on a bench and get yourself in a piked position and lock out like a handstand in a piked position and do static holds to failure. Now, when I say to failure, I don't want you like collapsing and bonking your head on the ground, but make them really, really darn hard, if you will. Or you could do some around the boxes, shimmying your hands with a locked out shoulder position. That's going to be fantastic as well. You could, from a seated position, since you have low ceiling height, you could do a combination of things where maybe you do some seated strict shoulder press, some seated, dumbbell Arnold press or something like that. And you could even, from a seated position, lock a pair of dumbbells or something out overhead and hold them statically for a set period of time to not only develop some pressing strength, but that lockout strength and static isometric hold strength like in the overhead squat as well. And then if you didn't feel for some reason that you got enough of a midline hit from the front squats, you could do some midline work as well. But all of those things together, you could, Frankenstein your way to like, hey, I can't overhead squat, but we can look at what are the overall concepts or gross movement patterns that we're trying to accomplish with that lift and replicate it the best that we can. So you're absolutely right there. And you can get it done with that low ceiling. Okay. Let's see. Oh, so would a half Turkish getup work? Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing. I don't know how awkward a half Turkish getup would be. You could play with it. You could play with it and report back. Let me know what you find. Natalie T. All right, now let's see what you got here. Tips for early morning workouts. How to warm up to be efficient, but also bring the intensity when appropriate. I don't plan on eating or having coffee beforehand. I have a hard time waking up in the morning. A 2.5-year-old and a newborn, busy. A 2.5-year-old and a newborn, but I don't want to sacrifice my family time with them, so waking up early is definitely the best option. Looking for tips and tricks and other early riser experiences. So, first of all, yes, I would also post this question as a general question in the Linchpin private Facebook group and the squad, the Linchpin squad and BTWB. And I think you'll probably get a whole bunch of people that have to get up early and do this every day in their lessons learned. Fortunate this phase in my life right now, I don't have to do that, but I certainly have at various points and know plenty of people that do. So for early morning workouts, you didn't mention that you're pressed for time. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're getting up early enough before your kids are going to be up that you don't have like a rushed 20-minute session, that you actually have a fair amount of time. You just have to get up early and do it, and your body's not quite awake and your mind's not quite awake, and you'd rather be back in bed. So if you don't have to rush, I would prep as much as you can the night before just to set yourself up for success. Whether that's laying out your clothes in an easy way to get them, your gym space as well, depending upon if where you live it's cold or warm in the winter. I have known people that in cold climates bring their barbell just inside the house the night before, because when you're working out at 5 a.m. and it's cold in the garage, you want to set yourself up for as much success as possible. And walking out there at 5 a.m. and grabbing a barbell that's potentially, you know, 34 degrees is a miserable experience. Grabbing a barbell that's room temperature is much nicer. So again, setting yourself up or bringing kettlebells in or bringing dumbbells in. If you live someplace warm, fantastic, great, awesome. If you have to set something up in the morning, like there's going to be a row, maybe you put the row out, you put the box out. You do as many of those things to be as efficient in the morning as possible. That can set yourself up for success as well. Sometimes, what I also do is um, I would allow myself like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how I'm feeling, before the workout or before I even start warming up to kind of wake up. And so that could be 5 minutes of easy walking, 5 or 10 minutes of easy walking on the air runner, easy rowing, easy pedaling, like just something, there could be some joint drills, some shoulder rolls, like things like that, just to get my body and slowly start to wake up my central nervous system before I really dive in. Do that for about 5 to 10 minutes and then get into the actual warm up. Sometimes on a morning like that, I would do different warm ups than what's programmed just based upon how I felt. And there are just some kind of standard warm-ups that you could do. Again, you can create your own, but one that I liked a lot is I would do 3 rounds of like a minute of casual jogging on the air runner. Casual jogging. I'm not going for broke. A minute of casual jogging, then I'd get off and I'd do kind of like 1 round as Cindy, but it wouldn't involve pull-ups right off the bat. Like I'd do maybe a minute on the air runner, gentle. I'd get off. I'd do 5 ring rows instead of 5 pull-ups, and then maybe 10 knee push-ups instead of regular push-ups, and then 15 slow air squats. Back on the air runner, I jog again, maybe the same pace, maybe a tick quicker, but whatever. Another minute on the air runner, I hop back off, and then I would grab those rings that I did for ring rows, but instead of doing ring rows like classic ring rows with my body arched, I would sit my butt down on the ground, legs are kicked out in front. So now I'm kind of grabbing the rings above me, but I'm still seated in the ground. And I do 5 like rings to chest like that. So I increase the difficulty a little bit. I'm still kind of warming up. I'm not hanging from the pull-up bar yet, but they're closer to a real pull-up. Then I'd probably do 10 actual push-ups, 15 air squats. I'd go back to the air runner. I'd do a third 1-minute run. Now kind of waking up a bit. The pace is probably kicked up a bit. Then I would do my last version of Cindy would be 5 strict pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and then 15 air squats. And after that, depending on what the workout was, I had this gradual phase of like waking up my mind and body. I could be ready to start the workout or load the bar, build up some warm weight, or start playing around. Or if there's a particular thing in the workout which is going to require me to take my warm up in a different direction, then I might do it then. So you can take the regular warm up, you can modify it as needed, you can find what kind of gives you the greatest opportunity to actually stay in the gym and work out. I see Melanie says here in the comments, running the space heater overnight and bringing the barbell inside the night before have been a game changer. Yes, 100%. And then I would also say a couple things for you, Natalie, is you have variables that you can manipulate as needed, and you are in charge of those variables. Okay, and there's many, but let's talk about some big ones. The variables that you can manipulate are the volume of work. And so what I mean by that is maybe it's a 5-round workout, and based upon how you feel at 5 a.m., maybe 5 rounds ain't going to happen. Maybe it's going to be 4 rounds. Maybe it's going to be 3 rounds. Again, the overall volume of work you can manipulate. Hey, Cindy's supposed to be a 20-minute AMRAP. Nope, that's not happening today because I almost didn't have the motivation to walk in the gym. So today, Cindy is a 15-minute AMRAP. It's a 12-minute AMRAP. It's a 10-minute Cindy. So you can manipulate the volume of work. You can manipulate, of course, the intensity of the work. There's a really big difference between, hopping on the rower, and then I'm just going to use just general terms. If these terms are high or low for you, whatever. But there's a really big difference between hopping on the rower and rowing in a multi-round workout that has a 500-meter row each round. There's a big difference in pulling a 150 per 500 or a 205 per 500. It's only 15 little seconds, which only, over the course of 3 rounds adds a difference of 45 seconds to the workout, which that's not a lot really over a 3-round workout. But the way that those two efforts feel are worlds apart. And so did you wake up feeling like you can take on the world? Well, the pace of the rower might reflect that. Did you wake up like, I would rather be anywhere else in the world than in this godforsaken cold gym, but I'm going to make myself do this somehow? The slower row pace is fine. So you can, and that also depends, not just that, but maybe you're doing DT, you don't burn it down. You allow yourself way more breaks than you needed to on DT. Well, you kept the volume of work on DT the same, but you lowered the intensity of the work. And so that's a big thing as well. And then, of course, you could also manipulate and change the load. So maybe you keep DT for 5 rounds. You keep it the rep scheme the same. But instead of having the prescribed load on the bar, you go with a wild card. Or instead of having the wild card, you go with the scaled or whatnot. So you can manipulate one of those variables per workout, 2 of them. You can manipulate all 3. Some days you might not have to manipulate any of them. It just totally changes. But they're all tools in your toolbox to keep you consistent and to keep you successful and keep walking into the gym when you don't want to. And remember that you're stacking bricks. You've got a 2.5-year-old toddler and a newborn. The fact that you're finding a way to work out at 5 a.m. means you're like a real life ninja of fitness. You are an incredible superhero mom, like no joke. And so give yourself some grace. Don't worry if the workout's not perfect. Perfection is the enemy of the good. We're looking to just stack bricks. Get in there and stack bricks. And don't worry about PRs. Don't worry about stuff like that. Just get some work done, and you will be good to go and maintain so much more of your capacity when this phase of life passes. And I would also say with when to bring some intensity, which actually several questions during this AMA involve this intensity piece, which is great. Look over the course of the week, see the workouts, what makes you smile, and maybe you can pick your shot, right? And maybe out of the 5 workouts at this phase in life, you're going to try to bring the heat once. Maybe you're going to try to bring it twice. Maybe you love to lift, and so you're going to take it easy on the mixed modality Metcon days, and you're going to really lift heavy on the heavy days. You love the barbell. Look at this week's workouts as an example. So the 2 shorter and sharper ones that we have. Yesterday, we had that 21:15:9 kipping pull-ups and burpees. Okay, No barbell in sight, right? Just a body weight, set yourself on fire deal. Tomorrow's workout is another bomb as well, but quite different because it's heavy compared to the body weight. 15, 12, 9 of a 275 deadlift for men, 185 for women, and a box jump. Now, Natalie, I know that you don't avoid workouts. I've seen you working out. But I also know that you love the barbell. So if I had to guess, I would guess that that heavy deadlift workout puts more of a smile on your face than the pull-ups and burpees. And so if you look at the week, you get up at 5 a.m., allow yourself to like go moderately. Maybe you don't keep yourself uncomfortable, but you're just going to go moderate on that 21:15:9 of pull-ups and burpees because it's 5 a.m. And you know what you're like, you know what I'm going to do for a treat? That deadlift, that heavy deadlift box jump, short and sharp couplet. Yeah, I'm going to give myself that as a treat because I love heavy deadlifts. Cool. And you can make those decisions and be totally good to go. So hopefully that helps. Okay. From Brian T. Two names for Linchpin. Yes, sir, you are correct. There are two legal names for Linchpin: CrossFit Linchpin and Linchpin Athletics. I've got legal rights to both of those, and I did whatever it is, the copyright, the trademark, the Linchpin logo. That's ours as well. And why? Quite frankly, just to give myself and the whole Linchpin community options because, man, I wish I had a crystal ball to predict the future, but it's rather obvious that I don't. And so, in order to be ready for things that I cannot predict or control, there's no way that I could, we've got CrossFit Linchpin and Linchpin Athletics. I really like the name Linchpin Athletics, quite frankly, because in my mind, there's a difference between there's CrossFit, the methodology, and there's the brand. And the methodology is just how we train. And it's like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. Like once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't stuff it back in. It's out there. The methodology is out there around the world for everyone to use, to manipulate in any way, shape, or form they want. It's just out there. Use it. Have a blast. The name CrossFit, well, it's a brand. And the brand, another way to say that is it's a company. It's a corporate structure. And all a company is a group of individuals making decisions at the end of the day, right? And those individuals make decisions that affect that brand in a positive way or in a negative way. What sort of decisions will those individuals make in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? Will they be decisions that are super cool and awesome and do nothing but strengthen the brand? Will they be poor decisions that don't strengthen the brand? I don't know. I wish that I did. Life would be a whole lot easier, but I don't. And since I can't control that, what I can control is the things that I have the ability to legally do. So I've got CrossFit Linchpin and Linchpin Athletics. I hope that the brand is great forever, but there's also, companies don't tend to last 200 years. So I have no doubt that people will be doing functional movements. They'll be doing functional movements with variance. They'll understand the benefits of intensity, probably forever and ever. I think the nature of physical training has changed since CrossFit brought these things onto the scene and deserves all credit for that it changed the landscape of physical culture potentially forever, at least for the foreseeable future. Um, will things be called CrossFit in 5 or 10 years? Beats me. I've got no idea. Will the individuals running the company make great decisions that, again, it's stronger, or make terrible decisions and bankrupt the company and it goes under? Like, I don't know which way that's going to go. I know how we're going to train. Regardless of which way it goes, I know what we'll be doing at Linchpin. We'll be providing the same service, the same education, the same community, and the same whatever, because I can control those things. And so it just seemed prudent and emotionless from my perspective, really, to have options and to be ready for a future that I don't know what direction anything's going. So, no matter what happens in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years, I'm going to be doing the same thing when I walk out into my garage to get fit. You and I are going to be having the same conversations. And Linchpin will still be doing what Linchpin's doing. And so that's basically that. All right, let's see. The next one is from Shannon D. I've been a member since November. Welcome, Shannon. So not too long, but I've noticed that we have pull-ups programmed often, but I have not seen many push-ups. I know that you have a master plan for your programming, so I'm sure there is a reason. Interested to know your reasoning. Very cool. Awesome question. And so I love these questions. So what I would encourage you to do, Shannon, is not you're on the right track, but I would reframe your lens a little bit. And so a pull-up is just simply um, an upper body pulling movement. And we have many, many ways to accomplish that upper body pulling movement. Pull-ups, chin-ups, both of the strict variety and the kipping variety, weighted and unweighted, L-sit, um, and then things that are, again, fall into that broad category of an upper body pull that are rope climbs with your legs, rope climbs without your legs, L-sit rope climbs, bar muscle ups, ring muscle ups. And all of those are under the umbrella of accomplishing when the need for an upper body pull presents itself. And so if you see pull ups, you might see pull ups twice in a week, but there's a good chance, generally speaking, not all the time, but there's a good chance they're generally different. One could be strict and one could be kipping. One could be chest to bar, one could be chin to bar, or there could be two upper body pulls in the week. One's a pull up, one's a rope climb or a ring row or something like that. And then with regards to the push-ups, the push-up again is just one movement we have under the more broad and general category of upper body pressing movements. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that we can accomplish improving your upper body pressing capacity without specifically, it's just one of 17 different movements we have, from push-ups to ring dips to going overhead is upper body pressing, strict press, push jerk, countless other things. Burpees are mixed in there as well. There's a push up involved in a burpee. And so all of these things, and every now and then it'll make sense to work a push up into the rotation. But whether a push up comes up once a week, once every other week, or once a month, the more important thing that should come up once or more per week is the broad category of upper body pressing. And so what I would recommend is now going back and looking over the same 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever you looked, with not just specifically looking for a pull up or specifically looking for a push up, but specifically looking for the gross patterns of upper body pulling or upper body pressing. And you can play this game with a whole bunch of things. You might say, well, look, it's been 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I haven't seen a kettlebell swing. Why aren't we doing kettlebell swings? And you, again, playing the same game, a kettlebell swing is literally nothing more than a movement that involves hinging at the hip. Midline stabilization, glute and hamstring activation, and hinging at the hip. And we're going to get that with power cleans. We're going to get that with hang power cleans. We're going to get that with snatching. We're going to get that with deadlifts. We're going to get that with a whole bunch of other things that accomplish and strengthen the same musculature, but use different movements. And so that kettlebell swing is just one option of many, many options we have to accomplish the broader brush strength and conditioning objective of posterior chain engagement, hinging at the hip, midline stabilization, et cetera, et cetera. And so, just looking back, I looked at from November, like the last 2 weeks in November, we had kipping pull-ups, we had strict press, and push jerks. That was kipping pull-ups, by the way, on like November 15th. Then on November 18th, we had strict pull-ups. So yes, pull-ups again, but not kipping this time, now strict. We had ring dips, strict. So again, the press, the push press, the jerks, that's upper body pressing. The ring dips, upper body pressing. Even something like wall ball shots and overhead squats, even though they don't look like an overhead press, that throwing of the wall ball and that shoulder stability of holding the overhead squat while fatigued from doing wall balls is going to strengthen all that same musculature that you're going to need to be good at push-ups as well. We had kipping chest to bar pull-ups. We had legless rope climbs. We had clean and jerks. We had ring rows. So again, I think if you take a step back and look at those gross movement patterns, you'll see things a bit differently. And that's kind of where we where we focus on. Okay, let's see. I see. Melanie says, oh, wait, push-ups are coming. Let's see. Also from Shannon, I know you went to the Rogue Invitational because it's a big competition on the sports side. Will you be in Miami or have you gone to Wadapalooza? I will not be in Miami and I have never gone to Wadapalooza. I've not been there yet. Okay, let's see. Going into the squads feature in the BTW app. Carrie asks, any update on when the Linchpin patches will be available again in the store? I really want one for my new weighted vest. Darn it! I totally forgot to order them. Hey, I'm not going to lie to you, Linchpin. I never lied to you. I totally forgot. Look, Carrie, here's what I'm going to do. I do have a stack of patches that I had set aside for the Linchpin banner kits. I'm going to take 5 or 10 of those out of the banner kit quantity, reduce the banner kit quantity on the store by that number, and then I'll take those 5 or 10 patches and I'll make them on the store. I'll add like 5 or 10 to the overall quantity so that if you see this and hear this, you can buy it. I'm literally writing myself a note on a Post-it note right here. I'll put 5 patches. Put 5 patches in the store, and then I need to just order more so I can replace them in bulk. Sorry. Okay. Jason B, what would be your suggestion regarding the number and type of workouts per week for older members? I'm 53. I don't recover as quickly. I don't think I can recover from doing all 5 that are programmed in the week. Okay. Jason, first of all, welcome. And I would say, first of all, I'm going to be 50 this year. I'm right there with you, my friend, right there with you. And at Linchpin, we've got people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like, we get all walks of life, all athletic ability levels, the whole 9 yards. Somebody, I believe, sent you this link, and I would just say it's a good thing to check out. Go to Linchpin Conversations number 128, which is entitled Help. I can only work out 3 times per week, and check that out because it says if you can only make 3 out of the 5 workouts per week, how should you select which of those 3 you choose? That podcast will be very helpful for you. But here's what I would say. Not all 53-year-olds are the same. Not all 43-year-olds are the same. 33-year-olds, 63-year-olds. So yes, you're 53, and that certainly factors into things, like beyond a question of a doubt. But there might be a 53-year-old standing right next to you, same age, that can't work out even though you're asking how frequently you can work out, that maybe can't work out as frequently as you can. And then a 53-year-old standing on the other side of you that can work out a little bit more than you, all the same age, but what they can tolerate is a bit different. And so understanding yourself and learning your limitations and where you just hum as an athlete is a bit of a journey that requires experimentation, and it's different for each person. And each person, the only way to figure out is to do it. And in doing it, you're probably going to get it right sometimes and get it wrong sometimes until you find your sweet spot that you just hum as an athlete. I would encourage you, whilst on this journey, to initially err on the side of being a bit more conservative compared to just jumping into the deep end of the pool. And so maybe you start with 3 workouts a week and just seeing how that treats you. And much like going all the way back to Natalie's question, with those 3 workouts, you've got multiple different workout options that we present every day on Linchpin. There's the workout, there's the video associated with each workout that you should watch to understand the intent. But then whether you choose it prescribed, you choose wildcard, you choose scaled, you choose dumbbell, you choose whatever, then you can still manipulate those variables, right? You could, maybe the wildcard option is really close for you, but not quite perfect, but really close because it's 5 rounds and you're still getting back into this, and 4 will be plenty. You are always authorized to make the best decision for yourself, or you're not sure if you can handle 5. Err on the side of caution because you're just getting back into this. Heck, only do 3 rounds. I mean, because what's going to happen? You'll come back the next day or 2 days later and be like, you know what? I only did 3 rounds, and I thought it would hit me a lot more, but it didn't. I feel pretty darn good. That's a useful data point. And now you've got a useful data point that when you make your next decision, it's from a more informed position. And you make another one, and you make another one. And one day you're like, oof, I should have used less weight. I was way off the recommended time. It took me way too long. I took too many breaks. Cool. That's okay. That's a lesson learned. And if you allow yourself the grace to just go in there, to remove your ego, to do some scaling, to lower some intensity, and to just crawl, walk, run, and feel things out for 2 or 3 weeks, I think at the end of that 2 or 3 week experimentation, you will have a pretty darn good understanding of what makes sense for you. It doesn't take that long. You just need to be open to the experience and, again, not do too much too soon. And just as you feel that you can do it, you crank things up a little bit. You crank things up a little bit. That could be the loading. That could be the overall volume of work. That could be the intensity. It could be all of it. Totally up to you. And it is highly individualized because no two 53-year-olds are exactly the same. And so I will tell you that, I've been doing this a long time, but where I've gotten to now is out of the 5 workouts every week, one of them is, generally speaking, a classic heavy day. On the classic heavy day, I always lift as heavy as I safely can. That's always my goal. Now, do I have a head cold and something change? Right. But I mean, generally speaking, I always lift as heavy as I safely can. That leaves 4 other workouts out of the 5. It's not infrequent that one of those other 4 workouts is a heavy day at a high heart rate, and the other 3 are, 3 mixed modality workouts, or there's a sprint day, or whatever it happens to be. So I'll lift as heavy as I can on the heavy day. Out of the other 4 workouts, generally speaking, I try to really bring the heat for me and burn it down and make it a high intensity experience 2 of those times. And the other 2 times will be low or moderate intensity days. And for me, that's where I just hum as an athlete. Recover well, I feel good, things move in the right direction. Between the ears feels good, body feels good, the whole 9 yards. There could be somebody else, again, because no two 25, 35, 45, 55, 65-year-olds are the same, that, they lift heavy on the heavy day, and out of the other 4 workouts, they bring the heat on 3 out of the 4. Cool. There could be somebody who's 24 years old in Linchpin, and they're like, I don't know what you people are talking about. I burn it down every day. I feel great. The PRs are raining down. I never feel overtrained. I never feel under-recovered. I sleep like a baby. The motivation's right there. I'm great. Awesome. Those people 100% exist. Awesome. What is important is wherever you are in age range or phase of your life, Natalie's in a different phase. She's a young woman, but she's in a tough phase because she's got a 2.5-year-old and a toddler. That's a big deal. Whatever phase you're in, you just have the self-reflection, self-awareness, and self-discovery to figure out what is the ideal path for where you are. Hopefully that makes sense. And every Friday, I post a modulating intensity video where I look at the upcoming week's workouts, I walk through them, and I present my plan. And I say that your plan doesn't have to be the same as my plan. I just present my plan. And you might benefit. Every Friday, I'll post that in the private Facebook group and in the squads feature in the BTWB app. And that might help you just kind of frame these conversations in your mind. Because as I say in those videos, like, don't be confused. Intensity drives results. High intensity drives results. High intensity does not have to mean maximal intensity, okay? It just means high intensity. It means you're working hard, you're uncomfortable, and you're pushing. That's what we're talking about. That drives results. While high intensity drives results, those days of low or moderate intensity allow athletes to bring the heat on those days that they're going to choose to drop the hammer and make it a high intensity day. And those days of low and moderate intensity, depending upon where an athlete is in their life cycle, allow them to be consistent. So I think high intensity drives results, and those low or moderate intensity days help with consistency. And there's an interplay between the two, and exactly how those two interlock is a little bit different for each athlete. But again, even though high intensity drives results, that I know for me, if I tried to make it high intensity all 5 sessions a week, I might get away with that for a week or two, but it would catch up with me. And then what would happen would be this slow, slippery slope of even though high intensity drives results, I'm not recovering enough. And now I'm walking into the gym a little sore, a little beat up, a little sluggish. Central nervous system's a little fried. I'm not feeling too snappy in my movement. Motivation's low. And now my workout sessions, the intensity is just starting to dip because my body's not recovering. Well, that's not good. That's eventually going to lead to plateauing and now my fitness going in the negative direction. So what each person does. Again, that's why the low intensity days and the moderate intensity days allow me to bring the heat on those high intensity days. And then fitness is achieved, things are sustainable, things are consistent, and everything goes in a great direction. So hopefully that is helpful, my friend. And let's see. And I think there's a couple of people that just kind of chimed in on this. I'm sorry. This is tied into the next question from Mike M. Mike says, at what point do you decide when to go for a more moderate workout? Do you pre-plan each week? Do you take a day off? Once the workout starts, how do you see how it goes? I tend to look at the full week and plan. How do you incorporate these days? So Mike, that's exactly, I walk through all that in those modulating intensity videos, and hopefully that whole dialogue that I just had with Jason about his question, that perfectly overlays to your question as well, Mike. So hopefully that helps you out there. And then I see Patrick S. says in relation to Jason, hey, Jason, I'm 59. I've been with Linchpin for 4 years. I do all 5 workouts a week consistently, but I do modulate my intensity as Coach Pat preaches quite intensively. I only go all out maybe once or twice a week, and the other times are moderate to low. And sometimes I even cut down the volume occasionally, depending upon how I was feeling. And then Tony B says, in regards to Jason B's question, yes, 100% agree. If Linchpin has taught me anything, it's about modulating intensity and relaxing my ego a little bit. I have to now, at 55 years old, I've even started adjusting the weights when necessary rather than going prescribed just to feel like I have to prove something. Health and long-term fitness is the goal. Awesome. Again, Linchpin, you're awesome. You really are. I mean, again, we talk about that strength and conditioning IQ. That's not just empty words. Like the responses that you're all giving to the questions in like the private track and the squads feature and the Facebook group, like those are the same things that I'm just going to say here. Like the fact that everyone knows the right answers and helps each other on this path warms my heart to a degree that I find difficult articulating. So all of you are awesome. Please keep up the good work, keep supporting one another, and we'll have fun. So that's it. Enjoy. I see T. Nelson. Nice shirt, well earned. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It was a goal that I had after my hip replacement surgery. So, and nothing that, for anyone's unfamiliar, nothing I did working out injured my hip. It was from a military accident I had a long time ago. A hip replacement was always going to be in my future, and I had a goal that within 1 year of having my total hip replacement, I wanted to be able to get a 1,000-pound total, just following Linchpin each day. No extra lifting, no heavy lift plus Metcon, just recovering from a hip replacement and then following the Linchpin workouts of the day. Could I hit 1,000-pound total? And I did. And there's video evidence on the CrossFit Linchpin YouTube channel if you need it. So, all right, that's it. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk soon.